Virginian history is very rich and central to the people whose family have existed in Virginia for generations dating back to the 1800s. The Will Center in Antioch, Virginia, first opened as a two-room elementary school in 1869 without the help of the state. Helen Forrest and Rosalind Knight explained to us how Antioch was able to establish a school for the black students in that area with the help of the community.
They built this building over here as a school for our children down in this neighborhood.
Okay.
Because transportation wasn't that good. Well, they went to the school board, and anyway, they got to wanted to have a building for these children. So they went to the courthouse, and they told them they would have to raise some money in this community to get a school that didn't have the money. The county didn't have the money to have a school way down here. So the people got together and they raised money. They had different activities to raise money. They had a big parade coming through Matthews Courthouse to, attract attention and all of that. And there was a man down here who had a truck, an ice truck, an old truck with a wooden body, and he went around carrying ice. And they used his truck for the parade, those who wanted to be in the parade to sit in. And my grandmother was one that put a rocket chair, wooden rocket chair, up in the back of that truck, and she sat there real properly. They came through the courthouse and came all the way down here in that parade, and that was an advertisement that they were having things, trying to raise money for this school. That part of this building was the kitchen when they built this school. They made that into a kitchen so that the kids could have lunch. After a while, of course, at first they brought that. Everybody brought a little bag lunch. And finally they had a lady in the county and that would cook. And cook, she lived down in this area, and she would do the cooking and cook a little lunch for the kids. And that was good, the first of having school lunch, hot school lunch. This is what they call one of the Julius Rosenwald schools. And this guy, multi-millionaire, went all over the South building Rosenwald schools. And each one is different.
Funds was not the only issue that the black community faced. Integration caused many problems, one of them being that white students did not want to attend a high school named after a black man.
The school was named for a slave. Thomas. The boss man, not the boss man, the slave owner, asked the school board to name it for him. Or would they name it for him if he gave them $25?
Wow.
When they integrated the schools, oh my goodness, they wanted to take that name off. But the blacks got together and said, no, let the state Thomas out. We were proud of our slave. That's the history of Thomas Thompson.
Oh, wow.
And all the time they had like, who Thomas Thompson was? And they searched some records and found out that it was a slave owner that asked the school board to name this thing for him. So the slave could read and write, we don't know. We doubt seriously.
Many Virginians, both black and white, shared last names like Forrest, Lemon, and Hunter. Darylyn Taliantero Beslow, who joined us later, explains her own interconnectedness with the larger state and her curiosity about very plausible, long-lost family living in other parts of Virginia.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect all these things, try to figure out how all the people that my parents called cousins or really cousins. When my great-grandfather, David Harris, in Middlesex, was a slave in what's now the Deltaville area, okay. But he was, there were 5 slaves, 6, maybe 6 at that time, that were picked up by the Union. And there were 3 with the last name of Hunter. And I've always thought that there was a connection with the Matthews Hunters, like Thomas Hunter. Okay. Now, what these, one reason that they were of interest to the Union was because they told them the location of all the Confederate installations in Matthews County. Okay, Matthews County, not Middlesex, in Matthews County. But they were slaves in Middlesex. I haven't really found that there was a connection, but it's got to have been, about the Matthews Hunters.
Although the Whale Center started as an elementary school, it became a fellowship hall 2 years before integration in 1952. In 2007, it became a museum where thousands of books, artifacts, photographs, and class pictures are stored from all parts of Matthews. Education, much like the preservation of their history, has been a priority in the Black community stemming from slavery.
And all of them seem to be very conscientious about educating their children. It was illegal for slaves supposedly to be taught to read. And so the importance of education, I guess, was something that they felt was essential.
They really wanted to know, and they wanted to be able to read and write. And they passed that interest all the way down to each generation. Those who were slaves, they wanted them to be able to read and write because they couldn't read and write. And that's why education is so important in most of the Black race. Her mother was an Indian, of course she was an Indian. And she married this white man. And of course, in Bertie County, they did not want races to mix. So they killed him. But each time we would go to the farm to help her with her crops, tobacco, corn, peanuts, whatever, I can see her now sitting in that rocking chair with a long white apron and a lap full of tobacco, rocking back and forth, said, "Children, I want you all to go to college." She educated her daughters. And she said, "Now I want each one of you to go somewhere to school." So her dream came true. There were 27 of us, and all 27 hold college degrees. But if you actually had time to look at all of the personalities that lived in Matthews, it's quite a remarkable set of people. Education-wise, even though they were back in the woods, so to speak, off the beaten path, but education was a priority for them. They really wanted. They put a lot of emphasis on education. So evidently there must have been something in the water, the food in Matthews County that caused these kids to keep going for higher education and also better jobs. It made a difference in other communities too. I know.
The community of Antioch was the force that drove its residents to care for one another. Not only did it build the school itself, it molded each individual who lived there.
Other than education, the most important thing your parents taught you?
Other than education, being a good citizen,
Mm-hmm.
good person in the community, and be active. Everybody treated you almost just like you were their child. If you were out of place, you would be correct. Back when I was a child, the community helped raise each child. You were a community child. You want people to see your child going wrong and doing wrong out and not say something to them. No one else was allowed to exercise any corporal punishment. But you tell me, I'll take care of that.
You did say that aside from education, the most important thing that your mother taught you was to be active in your community.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. They were very much so. They breathed, slept, ate, Antioch.
Virginian history is central to the identity of its inhabitants. Antioch School, now called the Whale Center, has left a lasting impression on its students, stressing the importance of education for colored people. The depth of the relationship between these women and their community is impressionable. For more information, Please visit www.weareantioch.com/history or oral.history.ufl.edu.